You ever see a big economic headline, about amazing job growth or the market soaring, and you just think to yourself, that's great, but it sure doesn't feel that way for me? Yeah, there's often this huge gap between the official story we hear about the economy and the actual reality of our own bank accounts. So in this explainer, we're going to connect those dots, from the big headlines right down to your wallet. So where does this disconnect even begin? Well, a lot of the time, it starts with a fundamental fight, a battle over the very numbers we're all supposed to be trusting. This whole thing basically caught fire thanks to former President Trump. He came out and directly challenged the official jobs data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS. He called their July report a scam and a miscalculation, and it all led to the firing of the BLS commissioner Erica Beckensarfer. So what was the big deal with that report anyway? Well, the official survey, the one that asks employers, said 73,000 jobs were added. Great. But a different survey in the same report showed layoffs were at their highest point since 2020. We're talking over 744,000 job cuts so far this year. So you've got two numbers from the same source telling two completely different stories. As you can imagine, economists pretty much freaked out. The general feeling was, look, it's one thing to debate what the numbers mean, but it's a whole other thing to attack the people who get the numbers. Nobel Prize winner Joseph Stiglitz put it perfectly. It's like deciding to drive a car without an odometer. You're just flying blind. Experts point out that these reports always get revised as more data comes in. That's not a bug. It's how it's supposed to work. The big fear is if you get rid of the scorekeeper, then nobody really knows what the score is anymore. Now, this fight over data isn't just some political shouting match. It really influences policy. And that brings us to our next point, a policy that comes with some very real, tangible costs, tariffs. And that leads us to another just staggering number. In one single month, the U.S. brought in a record $29 billion from tariffs. And this wasn't from just one little trade issue. No, this was from a whole new wave of tariffs hitting dozens of countries, including big partners like India and the European Union. So this is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Literally. When the government puts a tax on goods coming into the country, who really ends up paying that bill? The answer directly hits your household budget. Well, the Federal Reserve is pretty clear on this one. Those costs get passed right on down to us, the consumers. And this isn't some guess about the future, it's already happening. The company that makes Tide and Charmin has already said they're hiking prices, and they're blaming tariffs for it. So get ready, because you're going to start seeing higher price tags on everything from your clothes and shoes to that bottle of imported wine you like. But it's not just what the government does that's putting a squeeze on all of us. Let's look at two other massive forces that are changing our economy right now. First, the incredible scale of corporate wealth, and second, the unstoppable rise of artificial intelligence. Now, wait a minute. Does that number look familiar? It should. It is the exact same number we just saw for tariffs. But this $29 billion isn't a tax collected by the country. Nope. It's the value of a single new pay package for Tesla's Elon Musk. It's a number that just shows you the almost unbelievable scale of wealth in the corporate world today. To try and wrap your head around that kind of money, think about it like this. An analysis figured out that an average American worker would need to work for 1,900 years just to make what some top CEOs earn in one single year. Okay, now let's talk about that second massive force, AI. It's a huge disruptor, and as you can see here, it's really a double-edged sword. It's creating brand new opportunities while also creating some serious new challenges. And a lot of times, it's happening in the very same industries. And this change is happening at an incredible speed. Some people are calling it an AI arms race. The US might be in the lead for now, but some analysts think it's only by a few months. This race is creating enormous value. I mean, Microsoft's AI work helped push its value to an incredible $4 trillion. And it's showing up everywhere. McDonald's is already planning to use AI more widely to take drive-through orders. So, let's bring it all back home. We've got these political battles over data. We've got global tariffs, and we've got this wild, disruptive technology. How does all of that actually come together and hit you in your personal finances? The picture that emerges is pretty clear. There are all these different financial pressures hitting households all at the same time. It's not just one thing, it's like a waterfall of costs. For millions of people, student loan interest just started up again. A judge just reversed a rule that would have taken medical debt off credit reports. And you know all that cheap stuff you can buy from online shops? Well, a change in import rules means that's about to get more expensive too.
You can see this pressure building up in the cost of everyday things. Beef prices, for example, are really squeezing small businesses like those little Philly cheesesteak shops. And all of this is making people really worried about their long-term security. Think about this. About half of all workers in the private sector don't even have access to a retirement plan through their job.
And for those of us getting closer to retirement, the numbers are just daunting. A recent study figured that a 65-year-old retiree now needs about $172,500 saved up for healthcare costs alone during their retirement. I mean, that single number is a massive hurdle for millions of Americans.
So after we pull all these different threads together, from the politics in Washington to global trade to the AI revolution, we're kind of left staring at this gap. The gap between the economic story we're so often told and the one that so many of us are actually living.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We've seen how the official numbers can tell conflicting stories. We've seen how big global policies can make things more expensive at your local store, and how technology is literally changing the idea of a career. So the last question isn't for the economists or the politicians. It's for you. In this battle between the official story and your own financial reality, which one is winning?